I think that the Canon EOS R6 is a way better buy than the EOS R5 for beginner to intermediate filmmakers and videographers. And before you come at me, here's why. Before I get into my reasons, I just want to quickly clarify the main or the key differences between the new Canon EOS R5 and the EOS R6. Starting with the King, the R5, it comes in at a whopping £4,199. It does 8K 30fps RAW, 4K 120fps, and it comes with a CF Express and a SD card slot. And all the recordings are done in 10-bit 422 H.265. Comparing this to the R6, it comes in at a much lower £2,499. It does 4K 60fps and 1080p at 120fps. It has dual SD card slots, and again, all recordings are done in 10-bit 422 H.265. Now, you might be thinking, Tilak, hold up a sec. The R6, which has very similar specs, if not the same in terms of frame rate and resolution, to the A7S II and the Pocket 4K, which has already been out for a while. How is it any competition for the all-new The King R5, which does 8K at 30, RAW, 4K, 120fps, 10-bit 422 internally? Are you okay, bro? How do they even compare? The short answer would be yes, the R5 does have great specs for a hybrid camera, but it has certain limitations that I think will really make life a lot more difficult than it has to be for filmmakers. Let's talk about the R5. First of all, it has a huge price tag, £4,200 in the UK. For that kind of money, you can definitely pick up a serious budget cine camera like the Z-Cam, like the Kinfinity, Pocket 6K, Pocket 4K. Those are really good options. They offer ProRes internally, 10-bit, 12-bit. They do RAW like Blackmagic RAW, and you can get much higher, much better video quality. R5 has 10-bit 422 internal recording, which is great. But again, it's in a compressed codec of H.264. Now, obviously, I wouldn't expect them to put ProRes or RAW into a camera like this because, well, they would kill off their cine line, and I don't think a hybrid camera would be able to cope with that kind of power. There is a way you can get 10-bit 422 ProRes files for both the R5 and the R6, and that's with an external recorder, like the Ninja V. With the inclusion of ProRes, I can definitely see it being capable of a lot more and actually being included as a B or C camera on a lot of production. Something where you've got another Canon cine camera like a C200, C300. They both have log. With the 422 10-bit ProRes, it actually fits into a professional workflow pretty well. Another issue with the R5 that actually directly impacts the R5 and not the R6 from what I've heard so far is overheating. I'm as surprised as another YouTuber called crap, I forgot his name, hold on. Yuryev. Okay, let's try that again. I was also surprised as another YouTuber called Max Yurev who made a video on this. I strongly recommend you guys go and watch that video because he actually explains it in a lot more detail than I'm going to be doing. Just to give you a brief idea, how it works is the camera has a limit. So 8K, you can only shoot 8K for 20 minutes. And after that 20 minutes, you have to wait for it to cool down. And I'm not talking 1 or 2 minutes, I'm talking a good 10 minutes. And then after the 10 minutes, you might be like, okay, cool, I can go for another 20. Not really. You can only go for, I think, about 3 or 8 minutes, which is insane. And then you've got to wait another 10. I think that's a definite no-go for pro filmmakers. Like, you can't be rocking up on set and be like, yeah, like, we could only film 20 minutes at a time, and then after the first 20 minutes, we can only do, like, nah, that's not gonna cut it. And you might be like, okay, Tilak, well, that's 8K. But here's the thing, this overheating issue actually impacts every resolution above 4K. And I know a lot of people are shooting 4K, so that's kind of annoying. You might be thinking, oh, well, if I get a Ninja V, I'll clearly be able to record 10-bit 422 ProRes at whatever flavor. But that's not really the case because both of these cameras, even though they're priced very differently, max out at 4K 60 via HDMI to the Ninja V. The R6 isn't perfect. If you don't want to record externally via ProRes and you just want 10-bit 422 all-I H.264 compression, and that's more than good enough for you, unfortunately, you don't quite get everything because it's only IPB compression and not all-I. I don't know why they left that out. It's a little bit confusing. You're still getting 10-bit 422, but just in IPB, not all I. So my final thoughts are, I think this camera will be perfect for beginner and intermediate filmmakers as well as videographers, because not only do you get the 10-bit 422 files, but then when you're ready, you can also then get access to the whole ProRes workflow. I think this is a really good upgrade, especially from the EOS R. This is what the EOS R should have been right from the start. And the main question is, should you buy it? It all depends on what your needs are, and if you're a creative and you love taking photos and you still want that, but you want to move into more professional looking videos, you want to grade your footage, you want to get into really good quality slow motion, then I think this camera is probably the best one for you.